I'm out here playing around with this Precision 14 sailboat a little bit, just kind of seeing what I've got that I might can make work on it. Because I've got just the hull and the mast and the boom and no sails. And I've got this Hobie sail here that'll work. It's a little bit short on the height, but that's fine. It works good. If I use this sail, I will either need to change the boom to one of these other booms I've got here, or either just make this boom about 4 inches longer, which would work perfectly fine too. I think I've got some, that's 1.5 inch aluminum tubing, and I think I've got some 1.5 inch aluminum tubing, so I could do a splice and, you know, just put in like a 4 or 5 inch piece in it. If I use that sail, that's a loose footed main. It's in pretty good shape actually, but that's a possibility. I've got an old Com-Pac 16 jib right here that fits this boat perfectly. I think I've got a couple of other Com-Pac 16 head sails, so I'll probably see if I can't find one that's in a little bit better condition than this one. Here's pretty old and all, but it does fit. So that's a possibility. I think that the rudder that I got with this boat, which is this one here, to the right here, don't think that's original. I don't think. It could be, but I don't think it is. But I've got this one right here, which is a composite rudder, fiberglass rudder, from an American 14-6 daysailer, and it actually is closer to what the original would have been, I think. And so I'm pretty sure I'm going to use that on this boat. Another reason why I think that this one is not original is because I can tell that it had holes re-drilled before here, which is, you can see how it's different color paint, and you can see there where it's been repainted. So I have a feeling that I'll probably end up using this one. It may even go back to where it was originally at. This has a little bit of damage to it. The aluminum plates here are a little bit bent, not terrible, but enough to make it to where I can't use it unless I straighten them out. And so I'm going to take that one apart and see if I can't flatten those aluminum plates and put it back together. Got a motor mount here. If I decide to put a little outboard motor bracket on it, which I don't think I am, but I do have one or two of something similar to that I can put on there if I want to. And there's that old dagger board, which I will use to start with until I can find something better, just because I've got it. And I've got a couple of other booms that would be, size-wise, would be good, you know, to use on this boat if I decide to change out the boom. This boat has black painted, or I think they're painted, not anodized. And I'm not a fan of black spars. They end up blistering your hands when you're trying to rig or de-rig the boat. And I prefer them just to be finished aluminum or anodized aluminum, I guess. Or painted white. If you're going to paint them anything, paint them white. Don't paint them black. But a lot of companies did paint them black, and they just get so hot it will literally blister your hands. This boat originally had some little bitty spreaders right there. You might be able to see the brackets right there, somewhere right there, where it had little tiny spreaders on it. They really didn't do much. It's fine to sail it without them. I probably will put them back just because it makes it look better, more marginally, like it would have been, you know, from the factory. But I'm not real concerned about putting those in as far as sailing the boat. But I've got to address the fact that the bow eye here is, the nuts have backed off of it on the inside of the boat. And the problem is there's no access to that. So what I'll probably do is just put in a 4-inch inspection port right here to where I can get in there and tighten those up It could have been that there was a backing block in there that's rotted, I don't know. But anyway, I need to address that. And just fix up the trailer. I got to put some rollers and stuff on the trailer and some bunks on the trailer. But just piddling, not doing much. And thought I'd come out here and just look at it. I've got a couple of other options for mainsails and jib sail that I'll show you. Okay, that's with the Hobie 14 mainsail and a Com-Pac 16 Mark I jib, which should be enough to have fun out. Actually, I think it'd be fine. That head sail is a bit worn out, so I won't be using that one, but I was just using it for getting size. But it's actually not a bad combination there. I've got a few other sails that I'll try as well, but that Com-Pac 16 sail works just right. And I think I may have a Com-Pac 16 Mark II head sail, which is just a few inches taller. That may be what I end up using. Like I say, just out here piddling. Okay, so I have that jib from a 420. Yeah, it's probably maybe a 110. So that's a possibility. Shorten it at the top and leave this just exactly like it is here, but change the angle of my leech to shorten the sail from the top at the head, and then just redo my patch at the head. That's probably the best solution there. And then I can just keep that bottom all like it is. And that's assuming I use that sail. Okay, there's a 420 main, which actually works. It's not really designed to be loose-footed like the Precision sail was, but I can convert it to loose foot without too much trouble. Now that said, it's almost 2 feet short of the top of the mast, but yeah, that would still work. So using a 420 jib, and actually it's a 420 Genoa, I think, but that and a 420 main looks promising. Now, like I say, I've got at least one more set of sails that will also work. I'm gonna have to just play around with it just a little bit and see what I can do. But that would get you out on the water. This is a fully battened mainsail from a Catalina 14.2. Now, I'm missing the middle batten, so I will have to get a batten or make one for the middle. I'll probably just buy one. And the height is certainly usable. The foot is a bit longer than the other one, but if I use the boom from the Catalina 14.2, then that's a non-issue. And I can use it with the bolt rope, or either I can convert it to a loose foot. So what I'm doing here, this is the boom off of that Precision 14, and it's just a loose-footed main. So it's just a lightweight boom, 1.5 inch diameter tubing. And I needed to make it a little bit longer, so what I'm doing is just making a splice here. And this is a little bit thicker wall than this. Putting the end of the boom, the splice here on the end of the boom next to the mast, since it's going to have a little bit of weight to it here. I don't want it out there at the tail end, swinging around. And I just split it so I could drive it in. And that is a tight friction fit in there. It'll be a little bit looser fit in this one, but still snug. And I'll pop rivet it together. And then I'll just put the little gooseneck fitting back in here like that. Now this is 1 3/8 diameter here where it fits inside the tube, and this is 1 1/4, I believe it is. Yeah, this is 1 1/4 because it's thicker wall. It's a good bit. It's about twice as thick wall thickness as the boom there. So I'm going to have to take and drill this out 1 3/8 so that I can put my boom in there, the gooseneck in. And then whenever I get through though, that'll be I think I made it 4.5 inches longer, and that'll give me just enough length to where I can use that Hobie mainsail, or if I ever do get a precision sail, it'll still work. So I've got some options by doing this. I don't have 1 3/8 drill bit, so I'm gonna have to go by a bit. I only have to drill it out about 1/2 inch or maybe 5/8 inch deep, but I just don't have any way to do it unless I go get a bit. Got 1 1/4, got 1.5 inches, I don't have 1 3/8. Well, looking through my drawer full of drill bits, and I did have a 1 3/8 bit, but it's a hole saw. So what I did, or what I'm fixing to do, I just made a tapered dowel, hardwood dowel, and drove it in the end of it so that I can find center and pre-drill a pilot hole dead center, and then I'll use that to guide my hole saw. And with a little bit of luck, it'll ream that thing out a little bit without getting off center. I use hardwood to hopefully keep it in the center and not let it wander too much, but it's just got to skim the inside of that aluminum tubing just a little bit. So anyway, that's what I'm gonna try. I'm gonna just measure multiple places and try to just real quick and dirty find the center there and drill a pilot hole with my bit there. See what I can do here. Okay, so I've found my center and put a little bit of a center hole there for me, and then I've just barely scored it there with that bit, and I think that's going to work if I just don't let it get away from me. We'll see. Okay, that kind of worked. Well, actually it did work, but I had to modify my bit just a little bit because it was wallowing out too big. I took and broke off every other tooth, the outwards facing teeth. I broke those off and just left the inward facing teeth, and then that kind of kept it centered better, and it was easier to keep it drilling centered. So this is what has to go in there, and it'll just be riveted on, from the sides. But I've got to get my plug out now, my wood plug out, to clear all this, or either I've got to just drill a big hole in the center, which would also work, and then put that in. So I just ran a wood screw up in the center hole there of that block, and I'm going to see if I can't just pull out that plug instead of drilling out. There you go, come right out. Okay, so that's done, and now you can see in there what I've kind of got. And yeah, a lathe would have been a lot faster and easier and all, but I used to have a big shop lathe, metal lathe, but I never used it hardly ever, and it took up so much real estate in my shop. I finally sold it. It was nice when I needed it, but I just didn't need it very often, so it just kind of wasn't practical really to keep it long term. But I may have to square this up just a little bit where it kind of wallowed when I was first getting it started there, but that should work, I think. Oh yeah, that's just going to be a nice little drive-in fit. That's perfect. Just barely kind of tries to fit, but yeah, I can tap that in with a hammer and rivet it in. May not need another thing. Okay, that was such a nice snug fit, I didn't bother with any epoxy, but got 4 rivets in it, all the holes lined up. Once that's on the boat and painted to match the rest of the boom, you won't really notice that it wasn't like that from the get-go, and it won't make any difference if I use a precision sail that was made for the boat. It'll still work perfectly fine. It doesn't matter that the boom is 4 inches longer. It won't hurt it at all, but yet it makes it where I can use the Hobie sail or either the 420 sail. I've got a 420 main that fits it almost perfectly, or the Catalina 14-2. Any of them will work. Okay, that's on the back. Works fine. The boom still will fit inside the cockpit, no problem. So all's good.